If you're struggling with stubborn belly fat during perimenopause or just after perimenopause, and every diet that you try seems to make it worse, it's because you've been focusing on the wrong target. In this video, I'm going to show you how to starve your fat cells, not yourself, using 3 simple steps that work with your changing hormones. So, hello, I'm Lucy Hutchings, a registered dietitian, and I've helped hundreds of women in perimenopause finally lose that stubborn belly fat by learning how to cut off what feeds fat storage, not cutting off food from themselves. Okay, now I want to talk about why dieting makes this worse. Okay. When you restrict calories and starve yourself, your metabolism slows down and it slows down to conserve energy. And that is not what we want. We want a fast metabolism, right? And cortisol, which is our stress hormone, rises and stores fat around your belly, exactly where we don't want it to be stored. Also, your body thinks it's in survival mode and holds on to every calorie. So when you're cutting calories, your body is going to think there is not enough food around and it's going to hold on to all of the calories that you're eating. So cutting calories, eating less, going on a 1200 calorie or less diet isn't actually going to help you. Also, what happens is that you lose muscle, which burns calories even at rest. So we don't want to lose muscle. We actually want to build more muscle. So that is what happens when you restrict calories and starve yourself. That is not what we want during perimenopause when we are trying to lose belly fat and lose weight. When you starve your fat cells instead, you cut off what they need to grow and store energy while giving your body what it actually needs. And it is time, ladies, to nourish our bodies, not starve our bodies. So I'm going to talk about the top 3 core mechanisms. Number 1 is that we need to stabilize blood sugar, because when blood sugar spikes, insulin tells fat cells to store energy. And that is not what we want, because insulin is we don't want insulin to be telling our cells to store energy. If you keep it stable, that is going to equal fat cells losing their ability to store fat. So the bottom line here is that we want a stable blood sugar. So 3 actions that are going to help you with that is number 1, eat protein first. So when you are creating your meals, I want you to focus on protein, especially in the morning, which is where we tend to lack protein. So a lot of breakfasts look like eating cereal or even overnight oats or even avocado toast. These are popular things that we hear about as being healthy, but they lack the protein that we need to stabilize the blood sugar. So protein like eggs and fish and chicken and beef are all the things that we want to focus on when we are creating our meal. Next, we want to avoid eating carbs alone. So candy or fat-free, sugar-free ice cream, things like that are not what we want, because now there's so many carbs in it that it's going to spike our blood sugar instead of being balanced with proteins and fats and fiber, which is going to help prevent that blood sugar spike. Another thing to do is eat every 3 to 4 hours. Now, you don't need to eat first thing in the morning. But once you break that fast and you start eating, we want to eat every 3 to 4 hours to keep our blood sugar stable and cravings away. All right, next is to use food to block fat storage. When your body is inflamed, it sends signals that tell your fat cells to store more energy. An anti-inflammatory diet or anti-inflammatory foods are going to help turn off those store fat signals. So you want your meals, when you're thinking about them, you're thinking about protein. Well, we're also thinking about how to make it anti-inflammatory. So things like turmeric or dark leafy greens are going to, or ginger, those things are going to help keep the inflammation down. And then berries, very high in antioxidants. You can add those to your shakes or to your breakfast. And then fatty fish like salmon, sardines, mackerel, herring, those types of fatty fish are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, and they're going to help reduce that inflammation. So when you're thinking about your meals, you're thinking about protein, you're thinking about veggies, you're thinking about healthy, slow burning carbs, and you're thinking about those anti-inflammatory type foods to add to it. And you're also thinking about healthy fats. Okay, number three is to eat at the right times. So eating late, like right before you go to bed, or even 1 or 2 hours before you go to bed, it can disrupt your hormones that control fat storage and that fat burning. So we want to stop eating, if you can eat within 3 hours, you want to stop eating 3 hours before bed, that would be great. You can start with 2 hours if that's where you're at. And then not skipping breakfast. So this is all part of that eating at the right time. Again, you don't have to eat first thing in the morning. We want to have at least a 12-hour break overnight of a fast, but we don't want to just skip breakfast completely. We still need that protein. We still need to start the day with protein and preferably veggies or something with fiber to help stabilize that blood sugar. And then the third thing is to eat larger meals earlier if you can. I know in our culture here, it's typical that we have our biggest meal at dinner. And I fall into that as well most of the time. But making your lunch your biggest meal can give your body some time to digest and it gives your hormones the opportunity to work properly. So if you can have a bigger lunch, that's a great tactic as well. Now, by the way, if you want a copy of this Google Doc with all these notes, I'm sharing it in my free community. You can click the link in the description to join right below this video. It's completely free. You'll get access to everything that you need to start starving your fat cells today, and the link will be right under this video. Now, let's talk about why this works. During perimenopause, your hormones change in ways that make your body want to store fat, unfortunately. And it definitely targets the belly area. So, traditional dieting, like calorie restricting and keto and those types of diets or Weight Watchers, they fight against the hormones and our hormones, and it usually backfires. So the key to losing belly fat during perimenopause is not about eating less at all. It's about eating smarter. When you starve your fat cells and what they need to grow, like sugar spikes, inflammation, poor meal timing, while nourishing your body properly, the weight comes off naturally. So, ladies, if you're tired of fighting your body and ready to finally lose that stubborn belly fat for good, I currently have 2 spots open to work with me one-to-one. We'll create a personalized plan that works with your hormones, not against them, so that you can finally see the results that you've been working so hard for. Now, there's a link under this video in the description to book a free 15-minute call where we will figure out exactly what's been keeping your fat cells fed and create a plan to starve them instead. And remember, you don't need to starve yourself to lose weight. Okay, ladies, you've got this.